Collected from U.S. government statistics, and it offers insight on everything from where Latinos work to how they spend their money. This exhibition includes 125 different works. In fact, it's so expansive that they're holding it on 2 different floors. Let's go upstairs and take a look. Upstairs, there's a section on Hollywood and the industry's lack of inclusion.
And so it's really a statement about we belong to, and isn't that funny? Isn't that a great thing? I mean, I think Jennifer Lawrence is a Latina, is a pretty beautiful girl. You know, I think the Oscar is a very beautiful man as a brown man, which he was.
This is the first time La Plaza has hosted a solo show by a female artist. And while it's about Latinos, organizers say it isn't just for Latinos.
We're really hoping to capture a diverse, really multicultural audience. Linda's work speaks very directly to the Mexican or Latinx experience, and we're hoping that this show will open the eyes of all of the diverse population that lives in LA.
With immigration and race dominating headlines, Vallejo hopes Brown Belongings will bring a better understanding.
Brown Belongings is free and open to the public. The exhibition will run through January of next year. Councilmember Kern Price and the Los Angeles Department of Transportation's Vision Zero program hosted a South Los Angeles open house to celebrate active community engagement and how it benefits residents.
To share with the community the plans that we put together to try to change the character of the streets in this community to make them safer, and to hear their feedback, to really understand whether we're on the right track. We've already started to make some improvements to install high visibility crosswalks along the streets through South LA, but based on what we hear tonight, then we'll develop the next plans for how we move ahead with these projects.
This is a real collaborative process, one that involves neighbors, involves kids, families. We want input from everybody. Everyone's got a role to play. I'm excited to be leading in a district that has this kind of involvement and engagement.
This African-American artist's career spanned the art world, the sports world, and the TV and film and music industry. Ernie Barnes, a retrospective, features the work of the late artist at USC's California African-American Museum. Anna Marcos takes a tour.
Enter the Ernie Barnes art exhibit, and you enter a world where the figures are often elongated, sometimes over-muscled or their body parts warped, and usually their eyes are closed. So why are the eyes closed?
Ernie Barnes believed that people are blind to each other's humanity, and he brought that out in his signature style of having the figures have their eyes closed. But perhaps even with our eyes open, we really aren't seeing and appreciating and understanding the people around us.
This tour of the exhibit, Ernie Barnes, a retrospective at USC's California African American Museum, brought out plenty of visitors. Each wanted to look at the work of an artist whose career spanned not just the art world, but the entertainment industry and sports. He was a professional football player with the NFL, and he was the official artist for the 1984 LA Olympics.
More often than not, you don't really get to see images or representation of other things that African Americans have been able to contribute. So to have this for the youth to be able to come and see, anybody who's growing up in this surrounding area could be inspiring.
He just flows right into all of that muralistic kind of painting that I love. A lot of soul and a lot of heart, and it's not so stiff and abstract. It's human.
I think it's a source of pride. They see images that they can relate to. Most African Americans or other people of color, is the right word, they go to historical museums in a city, they don't see themselves on the walls.
Among Barnes' most well-known works is The Sugar Shack, which appeared on several episodes of the TV sitcom Good Times and on one of Marvin Gaye's album covers. His work was also sought after by other musicians, artists, and shows.
Ernie Barnes snuck into a juke joint. He saw people dancing. He saw a woman who was somewhat voluptuous. It stuck with him the rest of his life. A lot of us can relate to that. Okay.
Yup, it fueled plenty of amorous, artistic interludes.
Her arms, we can see how developed her muscle tone is. There's a feeling, there's a passion that he's able to bring out visually.
Barnes was born in North Carolina in 1938, at a time when there were no selfies, but there were self-portraits. The exhibit also showcases his paints, brushes, and the chair he often used, complete with paint stains.
He has movement and so much emotion in each character. And each painting is almost, it's like a little movie in itself.
Long muscles, strange bodies, and eyes wide shut were never this fun, this artistic, or this human. The show continues through the fall.
And the exhibit, like all exhibits at the California African American Museum, is free. It was an epic journey as hundreds of bicyclists rode 545 miles from San Francisco to Los Angeles to raise funds for AIDS research and improve the quality of life for people living with the disease.
We're here at the Finish Line Festival for AIDS Life Cycle, a 545-mile bike ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
It was 7 days of extreme weather conditions, but my heart never wavered. I rode every single mile.
I'm going to take a shower, I'm going to eat, and I'm going to sleep in my bed.
This is my 26th time doing this ride.
Congratulations! Another year! Another year!
You guys did it!
It's important for us to be here today because AIDS is not over, and this ride provides the resources that we need. This year we raised a record amount of money, $16.7 million. The history of the ride has raised over $263 million.
It's a way to raise funds so they can take the proper care and medications that they need to survive. All the negativity that sometimes surround a disease like this is about to end. We're riding 7 days to finish that.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great. Do this ride before you die so others can live.
It's a magical experience, and if you want to join us next year, check out AIDSLifecycle.org, and you can join us at the 2020 ride next year.
The ride has been happening for 26 years. This year alone, AIDS Life Cycle has raised more than $16 million. A city council member stands up for the release of a killer whale held in captivity. The mayor cracks down on illegal dumping, and a proposal is introduced that would ban parked vehicle idling. All this in City Beat. The House of Tears carvers of the Lumi Nation were special guests at a city council presentation hosted by Councilmember Paul Koretz. They've been traveling with a 3,000-pound killer whale totem pole to raise awareness about the predicament of Tokitai, a killer whale being held in captivity.
Tokitai the orca, along with about a third of the orca population, was taken from Puget Sound and sent to theme parks all over the world in the 60s and 70s.
Our responsibility to come here to speak for those who can't speak for themselves.
The city's working on cleaning up the streets as Mayor Eric Garcetti announced a trash crackdown on illegal dumping by businesses. The announcement follows Councilmember Jose Huizar's motion to call for additional resources to address illegal dumping in downtown. In his goal to combat climate change and pollution, Councilmember Paul Koretz has introduced an ordinance that bans parked vehicle idling. This ordinance comes on the heels of LA's failing grade in the State of the Air report conducted by the American Lung Association. Admit it, nothing can put a smile on your face better than a fresh, delicious donut. In fact, this treat is so loved that a whole day was dedicated to it. The folks came out in droves to taste every flavor.
I am here for my stomach because it rules my life.
Anything for donuts. This is the second annual Downtown LA Donut Festival. It is an edible exploration of LA's favorite pastry.
I think it's really fun because I feel like more families will be able to come together and just have fun in the end instead of just being at a plain old boring donut shop.
Instead of just going to get one kind of donut, you get to try 13 different kinds of donuts from vendors all over Los Angeles.
I'm curious to see and taste the variety of donuts that they have.
I'm a huge connoisseur in donuts. I've had everything from a Kroger donut to a Voodoo donut to a Winchell's donut.
There's also lots of activities.
I think you've got a really great balance of calorie consumption and calorie expenditure.
We had a donut break during our class.
Yeah, you can reach for the donut.
Yeah.
You know, it all works out.
We're serious about our yoga, and yet we don't take it too seriously.
Get your kids ready for swim season with free swim lessons. Bring home a new furry friend and come out for the Valley's biggest Pride event. All this in Things to Do. Mayor Eric Garcetti invites you to the second season of Swim LA, a program that provides Angelino children between the ages of 4 and 17 with opportunities to learn to swim. Families can participate at over 51 city pools, with 35 pools offering lessons for free. Give kids access to a life-saving skill that keeps them fit and strong. Enrollment to Swim LA is open now. For more info, visit swimla.org. LA Animal Services is proud to present Chipitty Kitty, a pet adoption event meant to call attention to the high volume of Chihuahuas, Pit Bull Terriers, and cats in their centers. During this event, discounted adoption fees are available for these specific breeds at each of the 6 centers. So drop by the Chipitty Kitty adoption event taking place June 22nd and 23rd at all 6 LA City Animal Services centers. For details, visit laanimalservices.com. San Fernando sets rainbow flags aloft for its 5th annual Valley Pride event. Enjoy fabulous food trucks, dance the night away, and show your love for your fellow Valley girls and guys. Bring the entire family for a celebration of inclusion, diversity, and all things LGBT. It's Love for One, Love for All at Valley Pride 2019. Happening June 22nd from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Van Nuys Civic Center. For details, visit valleypride2019.com. And that's a look at some things to do. That's it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay. From all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more of LA This Week.
This is 911. I have bought some Chinese food and it's not to par.
You're calling 911 to get a husband. Yeah.
911, what is your emergency? What number do I call to get the time? I need some cigarettes. How big is the spider? It's just a little one.
Do you need a ride?
Yes, it looks for stone.
I asked for 4 different times to make me a Western barbecue burger. I want my hamburger right.
to the Los Angeles City Council. Today is Friday, June 21st, and this council meets on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Madam Clerk, we have quorum. Can you please run through the agenda?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Roos, Smith, Wesson, 11 members present and a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you. First order of business?
Approval of minutes.
Okay, let's go ahead and move approval of the minutes. Councilmember Paul Krikorian moves and Mr. O'Farrell seconds. What's next?
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Okay, Mr. Harris Dawson moves and Mr. Cedillo seconds. Next.
Madam President, there is a request to continue item 4 to August 28, 2019.
Okay, without objection, that will be the order. What's next?
1 through 13 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, Mr. Rue, do you have any specials? Item number 3 for Mr. Rue. Any other specials, members? Okay, seeing none, let's go ahead and open the roll. Close the roll and tabulate the votes.
11 ayes.
Okay, next item.
On the continuation agenda, item 14 is the item for which public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before us. Are there any cards on these items, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Madam President, there are cards.
Okay, let's go ahead
and that brings
move on.
Council to items called special, public comment, or presentations, Madam President.
Move on to presentations. Mr. Smith, are you ready?
Yeah. Michael? Come on up. You all can come over and stand over here. The whole team.
Yeah. Popular guy.
Yeah, must be. I wish I had you.
What's that?
I wish I had you. Thank you, Madam President. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Good morning, members of the council. I'm joined by Council Member Buscaino and Rodriguez for a very special presentation today.
Congratulations.
Today we are here to honor a very special Angelino who is here in Los Angeles City Hall, one of America's most successful living novelists, movie and TV screenwriter and producer, and a true hero of Los Angeles, Michael Connelly. Michael began his career as a journalist in Daytona Beach with the Daytona Beach News Journal. Later and shortly thereafter, he went to Fort Lauderdale to work for the Fort Lauderdale News-Sun Sentinel, and his coverage of the Delta Flight 181 crash, which killed 181 people, but where there were 27 survivors. It was his coverage of those 27 survivors that won him a nomination and a finalist as a Pulitzer Prize contestant. Coming to the attention of the Los Angeles Times, he came to Los Angeles to work for the Los Angeles Times when it was across the street.
The El Segundo Times.
Now the El Segundo Times, true. The Los Angeles Times, where he became the beat writer for crime and spent many days coming into this building at City Hall. Connelly published his first book, Black Echo, which won him the Mystery Writers of America Edgar Award for the best first-year novelist, 1992. Since then, he has published 33 books, selling 71 million copies in 40 countries of the world. The mainstay of Connelly's books has been the unique and fictitious homicide detective Harry Bosch. Detective Bosch worked in the elite robbery homicide division and later worked in the Hollywood homicide desk at Hollywood division. A detective who can best be described as singularly focused on catching the bad guys at all costs. Even if it means fighting city councilmen in one book, the mayor in another book, the police chief on all the books, and in one case, arresting the police commission president for murder. And finally, a scene that I think probably Joe Buscaino loved is when he picked up his lieutenant and threw him through a plate glass window. He is a unique cop, a unique detective, to say the least. After successfully, another book he successfully wrote was called Bloodwork, which also made it to the silver screen, where it was a movie produced here in Los Angeles. initially in Mr. Bonin's district, where he lived on a boat in the marina area, catching a criminal in Mr. Blumenfeld's district in Coconut Park. Retired FBI Detective McCaleb was played on the screen by Clint Eastwood. Another successful book that he wrote with a whole series of books called The Lincoln Lawyer. Lincoln Lawyer also made it to the silver screen, where he was portrayed, the portrayal of Mickey Haller was done by Matthew McConaughey. But Bosch has always been the main storyline, with Bosch arriving on the silver screen here on television 5 years ago as Amazon Prime TV series. It is now entering its 6th season as one of the most successful Amazon series yet. Michael doesn't just write about police officers. He knows them. He makes an effort to learn about their lives so that he can portray their characters in his books, an accurate and honest portrayal of life on the streets. Through the use of some LAP detectives, one of which is here today, a gentleman I worked with over at RHD for many years, and I'm very proud to say he is a legend in LAPD. Rick Jackson, who is advised on many of the books, is here today. Glad to have him back in Los Angeles. It was his birthday yesterday, by the way. Happy birthday. So whatever Michael has done, he has made sure that LAPD was properly recognized and everything was factual and real, and all of his books and movies were the real deal. I'm happy to have here today Rick Jackson. I wish we had a couple of others that still work for him over there, but they weren't here today. They're here now?
Mitzi and Tim.
Mitzi and Tim? Oh, hey, there's Mitzi Roberts and Tim Marcia. Where's Tom? Where's Tim? They still work at RHD across the street and do part-time consulting work also with Michael on his books and TV series. And when I went to RHD many years ago, Tim Marcia was my training officer, so we go back a long ways. Michael Connelly's Detective Bosch, is very special. He never quits, and he will always catch the criminal, no matter who the victim was. His motto is, everyone counts or nobody counts. And today, as we stand here, that saying is engraved on the wall of the Robbery Homicide Division of LAPD across the street. Everyone counts or no one counts. He's also being portrayed on T-shirts, which go on sale shortly, with all the proceeds from the sale of those T-shirts going to a charity named My Friend's Place, which helps homeless youth build self-sufficient lives. One thing that always stood out to me as an Angelino and many of his fans in Los Angeles is the commitment and passion he has for Los Angeles. Whether it's having breakfast at Dupar's restaurant at the Farmer's Market, or lunch at Felipe's down the street, or one of my favorite diners right down the street, the Nickel Diner, Michael Connelly has incorporated those into his stories and his movies. And the best thing about it, he also films all his movies and his TV series right here in Los Angeles. Keep it local. We are very proud as a city of the success Michael Connelly has had. It is a huge success. He is the best of Los Angeles. He continues to be a hero of Los Angeles with his commitment to the city of Los Angeles, and particularly our homeless population. I'm very pleased to introduce a couple of friends that here. They're going to speak on his behalf today. First of all, that doesn't count. First of all, I'm pleased to bring forward to the microphone our colleague, a man who is now president of the National League of Cities and a former LAPD officer, Joe Buscaino.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks for including myself and our Public Safety Chair, Monica Rodriguez. Thank you so much for including us in this special recognition. I'm just here to introduce someone who's going to speak great things about Michael, and I want to introduce someone who has been with our police department for over 30 years and currently serves as a captain of Mitch O'Farrell's Hollywood area division. I know we are here to recognize Michael Connelly, but I do want to let you know a little about Captain Polka and his background and accomplishments within the Los Angeles Police Department, the finest agency in the world. Captain Polka came to Hollywood by way of 77th Operation South Bureau, where he was assigned as area commanding officer. He is known for his relationship-based policing style and solid rapport with the stakeholders in his communities. His approach to policing has allowed residents and business owners alike to truly thrive in the Hollywood area, and he has Also been very instrumental in incorporating and expanding leadership training in our police department. He is a graduate of USC and received a master's degree in public administration. Also completed programs within the FBI National Academy, LAPD's West Point Leadership Development Program, and of USC's Delinquency Control Institute. And Captain Palka is a dear friend of Michael Connolly and has a few words to say on his behalf. So help me welcome to the dais Captain Corey Palka.
Thank you. Thank you so,
Thanks,
thank you so much.
Thank you, and good morning. You know, in Hollywood and in Los Angeles, productions come and go. Commercial production, film production. The Pantages run shows through and they come and go. The Hollywood Bowl just had Andre Bocelli come in. He's in Denver tonight. Let me tell you guys, Mr. Michael Connolly comes back to Hollywood year and year again. His relationship, his leadership with his team is superb. For several years now, Mr. Connolly has entered through the doors of Hollywood Division with class, professionalism, and he extends to each and every member of his team a level of affection and appreciation that is unlike no other. Mr. Connolly supports Hollywood causes, specifically to police officers, supports our Police Unity Tour. He employs our officers. If you've seen the show, many of our Hollywood officers are in that show. And during our celebration times in Hollywood, he also supports the officers in some of the things we do. Whether it's a young police officer, his first day in the job, or myself, the most senior officer in the command, Mr. Connolly's class extends throughout his staff. His team is superb. Mr. Connolly, I want to thank you for your consistency, for continuing to invest in Hollywood. As you know, he's a resident of Hollywood. His production company is in Hollywood. And every day you give back to us through your relationships, through your kindness. And most importantly now, for 5 years, our Hollywood staff, our Hollywood officers have been able to include in their careers the presence of the Bosch family. To the actors that are here, you do a great job. But if you guys knew these men and women, these people on this crew behind the scenes, they're as classy as Mr. Connolly is himself. And I am so honored to lead this command and to know Mr. Connolly's always welcome in the station. It's a great day for Los Angeles to honor him. So I want to say from my heart, on behalf of the Chief of Police and all of us in Hollywood Division, thank you for being the man you are and for giving to Los Angeles, Harry Bosch. Thank you, brother.
Very well said, Captain. To introduce our next very special guest, one of the cast members, my dear friend and my colleague from the San Fernando Valley, the chairman of the Public Safety Committee, Monica Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, and thank you so much for including us to be part of this very special presentation. And Mr. Connolly, you know, your work is helping to shed a light on the very difficult tasks that the men and women of our police department do every single day, and we are incredibly grateful for your work and helping to shed a light on the incredible job that they do every single day. But I have the distinct pleasure of honoring and bringing up today in not just acknowledging the incredible work of Michael Connolly and the story of Harry Bosch, but I have the privilege of recognizing the individual that portrays that very character in such a stellar and unique way. While Harry is an astute detective with a strong moral compass, he is a flawed man with a somewhat renegade attitude. And when it was funny, I was kind of thinking how that parallels in some ways some of the things that that are said about me on some occasion. But underneath his tough exterior is a deep, dark history that haunts and drives and defines him. His storyline and character development keeps viewers wanting more. And I have the very special privilege this morning of introducing and recognizing the gentleman that has the privilege of bringing to life this very unique character, Mr. Titus Welliver, who portrays and personifies Harry Bosch.
Hello. Unlike Captain Palka, I'm an actor, so I need a script. I will say, 5 years ago, I had the privilege to meet Michael Connolly to audition for his show, Bosch. Needless to say, Harry Bosch is a character, any actor in their right mind would jump through hoops to get the opportunity. To say it is a role I wanted too much is an understatement, and I was nervous. Within minutes, Mike's openness and kind demeanor put me at ease, and I was able to do that which I had prepared for. You know the rest. And we now prepare to embark on our 6th season and hopefully many more to follow. From the shooting of the pilot to this day, Mike is generous, open-minded, and continues to inspire me to represent his most beloved character, Harry Bosch. Mike has given me a gift, and I am forever in his debt. Above all, Mike is my dear friend, and I am forever in his debt for that as well. So for me, every day is Michael Connelly Day. Congratulations, Mike, and thank you. Hold fast.
Well, that brings us to the man of the hour, the gentleman we're here to honor today. We have one speaker, two speakers.
Mr. Smith, if I may call on Mr. Bonin, who would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to rise and say a few words about Mr. Connelly. I'm going to be slightly off message because the first book of yours that I read, which will remain my favorite, is the one that doesn't feature Bosch, the poet with Jack McAvoy. I read it when I was at a point in my life where I was newly sober, and it was like the first book I read in this wide-awake world of mine. And it gripped me, and I couldn't put it down, and I loved it. And I actually have a horrible memory, so I can reread it every 3 or 4 years, and it's new to me. So I want to thank you for that novel, and I want to thank you for the repeat experience of it.
That's all we have on the
Thank you.
on the,
And just for your edification, Michael, if it's a superhero, he knows all about it. Doesn't anything that was ever done in superhero world, he knows about it. He does not forget. So if he remembers you, that's a major accomplishment.
We need a Bosch Justice League crossover.
Well, thank you very much. And to bring to the podium finally the man who is standing here very nervously. You think for a man of his success he wouldn't be so nervous, but he's been standing here kind of bouncing around, kind of nervous. Like he has to come out front now and talk. But the man of the hour, the man we're recognizing today is Michael Connelly Day, a hero of Los Angeles, not just for what he has done to recognize the people of Los Angeles Police Department, but also the people of the city of LA, the small businesses that he puts in his books, the people he talks about. Our city is recognized in all of his works very, very up front. And so we recognize that, and also his new commitment to the homeless of our city. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to present you Michael Connelly.
Thank you very much. This is a fantastic honor. I like to say I'm a writer, not a speaker, so I don't have a script or anything. By the way, Captain Palka, can you tell Titus that that beard will not work anymore if he wants to still be Harry Bosch? This is amazing. I came here 32 years ago with my wife. This is my adopted hometown. This is my muse. Everything happens for me here as a storyteller. Raised a family here, had a daughter born here. Los Angeles has been wonderful to me, and if in my work I give back in any way, that's what I want to do. I love the idea that everyone gathered here behind me, because I wouldn't be here without these people behind me, and that goes from my wife and daughter to the detectives who have been helping me for, now it's going on decades, trying to get it right in my books. And then I seem to get credit for this show, but it's the people standing behind me, the actors and the writers and the producers standing behind me, that I think help take my books and as a blueprint and turn them into the best detective show I think has ever been made, and most accurate detective show ever made. It just happens to be about Los Angeles, and we're very proud of that. And you know, we are a show that spends about 2/3 of our shooting time out on the streets of this great city, and if that's what we're communicating around the world, that is fantastic. So thank you for all the support. Thank you to everyone standing behind me, the City Council. This is beyond words for a writer to have something like this happen, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Yeah, just I was talking about the show. We have the police chief Lance back here, Harry Bosch's boss, the lieutenant Amy is here. And we even have batting stance guy here. So it's just been an amazing number of people supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna take some pictures here. And first thing we're gonna do is
There we go.
Mr. Rue?
Thank you, Madam President. We have a special drop-by, unexpected drop-by from three of our colleagues and assembly members from the state of California. We have Assemblymember Rob Bonta, Assemblymember Ash Carla, and Assemblymember David Chu, who are down here for a different meeting. If we give them a round of applause. And I just want to recognize my colleagues and thank you for coming by at City Hall.
Are we ready for the mariachi? Go ahead.
Let's hear it for them. Congratulations. Thank you. Muchísimas gracias.
Good morning, colleagues. Councilman Cedillo, Councilman Rodriguez, if you want to join me at the dais. And as you may have guessed from the music, courtesy of the band Mariachi Los Reyes, let's give them a round of applause. Today, we are celebrating Mariachi USA. Mariachi USA is an iconic music festival bringing together the nation's best mariachi bands for one spectacular night at the Hollywood Bowl, celebrating culture, tradition, and music. We are fortunate to have here today the founder of Mariachi USA, Rodri J. Rodriguez. Rodri, come on up. Yeah, come on up and join us. Mariachi USA is a source of pride and inspiration. It keeps the tradition of mariachi alive while welcoming new generations to explore a future in music. This year is particularly special because tomorrow at the Hollywood Bowl, Mariachi USA is celebrating 30 years of family, pride, and tradition. Mariachi music is a rich musical tradition of the Latino community, but in many ways, mariachi is also the soundtrack to Los Angeles. The sounds of guitar and trumpets float across our city. Its cheerful, triumphant tune echoes throughout our neighborhoods and is carried on a summer breeze. Now you may have realized I am not Latino. But growing up in the diverse neighborhoods in East Hollywood and North Koreatown, I've heard mariachi music all the time. And whenever you heard mariachi music, you always knew that it meant something was going good. A wedding, a graduation, a celebration, or maybe just a joyful expression of our city's vibrant culture. It is also impossible to be in a bad mood when the mariachi starts playing. So I am honored to welcome Mariachi USA to City Hall today and to the iconic Hollywood Bowl in Council District 4, and to celebrate today with Councilwoman Martinez, Councilwoman Rodriguez, and Councilmember Cedillo. And now I'd like to welcome up Councilwoman Nury Martinez, to say a few words.
Martinez.
Sorry.
How are you? Nice to see you. It's okay, Mr. Wu. The mariachi gets all of us excited. Thank you very much, Mr. Wu, for leading this presentation and for inviting me to join you in recognizing such an iconic cultural event. As we approach Latino Heritage Month, commemorated between the months of September and October, which I'm really excited to be hosting this year, I cannot think of a better way to celebrate in anticipation than with the mariachi music. Because at the root of all of our wonderful components, like our hardworking people, our food, what makes up our wonderful Mexican culture is our music. And our music is made up of beautiful stories that are illustrated through the sounds of the mariachi. Mariachi music is embodied in our culture and is a great Latino folklore. For the last 30 years, Mariachi USA has been a leader in showcasing the beautiful and traditional, what makes our tradition of our genre Mexican music so alive and well. I am honored to be recognizing the Mariachi USA on your 30th anniversary as a symbolic milestone. The fact that this event has received such strong support for so many years really tells you the appreciation of our music and our culture in our city. But I want to make sure that we can continue the tradition of the Mexican culture here in Los Angeles, and we need to continue to instill the importance of our traditions and our music to our new generations to come. This is why it's so important to recognize Rodri Rodriguez as a founder of the Mariachi USA, and the Mariachi USA Foundation is exactly what you are doing. You are another great example of how a woman is leading in a male-dominated music genre. She is providing students with not only valuable knowledge, but access to once-in-a-lifetime professional performances. And for that, I want to give you a big round of applause for leading the way in such an amazing field that is dominated by men. Because of your efforts, new generations of students will learn the chords, the sing notes, and share the mariachi's history here in our city of Los Angeles. Just last year, we honored a group of students from the San Fernando Valley, which are mariachi, Tesoro de San Fernando, who are the young students from the Valley who won the state championship title in their performances here in the state of California. And these kids now are going to have an opportunity to be able to open their own doors and be able to one day perform at the Hollywood Bowl as well. On a very personal note, I remember as a young girl, I didn't necessarily know how to play sports. In fact, I kind of sucked. I still, sometimes when I throw the first pitch at a baseball game, it's not my most the greatest moment, but nevertheless, I grew up as a dancer, and as a young girl, I remember dancing to El Son de la Negra and El Jarabe Tapatío, and my mother now plays 4 instruments she personally has taught herself how to play. So I come from a very rich traditional history of how to embrace our Mexican culture and our music. So thank you very much for being here, Rodri. Congratulations on this wonderful milestone. I want to say a few words in Spanish, if I may, Mr. Ru. Lo más importante que nos puede suceder en la cultura mexicana, no nomás son las personas trabajadoras de nuestra comunidad, pero también nuestra comida y nuestra música. Y nuestra música la celebramos a través de la música del mariachi. Estamos ahora reconociendo al Mariachi USA por 30 años que estamos celebrando su participación con las tradiciones mexicanas, y también una mujer que está logrando muchísimo éxito, que está logrando no nomás ser la fundadora del Mariachi USA, pero también la fundación de Mariachi USA, que es Rodi Rodríguez. Muchísimas gracias por ser una mujer campeona, una mujer que está no nomás logrando en este género de la música mexicana, pero también en una música tradicionalmente que es dominada por los hombres. Queremos felicitarla por su éxito y tratar de inculcar a nuestros jóvenes que sigamos con las tradiciones mexicanas y que viva la música del mariachi. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Councilwoman Martinez. Next, I'd like to welcome up Councilwoman Rodriguez to say a few words. Councilmember Cedillo. Councilmember Cedillo. We just joined us, yes.
Let me reiterate. Well, it's hard to say, it's hard to follow Nuri, because she said exactly what needs to be said with respect to this cultural contribution. Rodri's been a pillar and an institution in the Mexican-American community of Los Angeles and Southern California, and deserves this recognition. Everybody knows her. She doesn't need it, but she deserves it. And particularly at this moment, I don't want to politicize this event, but clearly, but let's be honest. But let's be honest, never has the Mexican and the Mexican-American community been under such explicit, open, brazen attacks from the White House as it is today. And this event and this event tomorrow, all these are acts of resistance, of cultural resistance, and it demonstrates a presence here. As many of you know, and I just shared this story with someone else in the back, my father came to Los Angeles in 1941. He joined the Army. He lived in the South for a little bit in the Army. He came back to L.A. And I grew up listening to jazz earlier in the evenings, and then later at night, mariachis. And it became part of who I am and who we are as a community, diverse. We have one side of the hyphen that's very American, and then the other side of the hyphen that's very Mexican, and we're very proud of it. And the presence of Mariachi USA is that other side of the hyphen. Deep, rich, and extraordinary cultural contribution to the society, something that we should continue to preserve and revere, and something that all of us, if you have an opportunity to be there tomorrow, will understand the depth of our appreciation for both this incredible woman and leader, but also for the cultural contribution that's being made each and every day in this city. Thank you so much.
Bravo, thank you.
Y lo mismo en español.
Thank you, Councilmember Cedillo. Next, I'd like to welcome up Councilwoman Rodriguez.
Councilwoman.
Good morning, colleagues, and it is my real privilege to be standing here with you, Rodri, and honoring you for all of your countless years of really celebrating and helping Los Angeles be true to its roots, and bringing this Mariachi USA for so many years consecutively, and actually making it such a well-respected and appreciated and attended production. It's really reflective of who we are as Los Angeles, but I think more importantly as the granddaughter of a mariachi. My grandfather was a professional mariachi from Juarez, Chihuahua. And when he came to this country, he wasn't able to retain that as his primary job. He, like so many families that immigrated to this country, he had to find alternative means of employment as an upholsterer, as a laborer, and on the side, he got to play that violin that he did so well. And growing up, it was very much a part of my life. There was not a single celebration in our family, whether it was a baptism, my first Holy Communion, a wedding, that didn't involve mariachi music, and allowing us to continue that very special tradition. And you, in so many ways, have helped to continue that very special legacy for so many families who would otherwise not have access, because it's expensive. It's an expensive thing to have at your home. But it was something so important that we would have at every celebration. And in fact, I'm so grateful. Unfortunately, I can't be there tomorrow because tomorrow we're celebrating my grandmother's 90th birthday. With mariachis, with 3 hours of mariachis playing. And it's going to be a fabulous celebration because there is no Mexican in Los Angeles that doesn't have an epic party without mariachi. And it's really, for me, I think what you have done to bring it to the Hollywood Bowl consecutively for 30 years has really helped to bring it into the homes and the hearts and minds, and people understanding the struggles, the music, the stories that the music tells is so unapologetic and real, and connects to the struggles of what Mexicans have endured for decades. You know, when I think about some of my favorite songs, I think about Chente, I think about El Rey. And I know that mi palabra es la ley when it comes to my office, when it comes to my home. But when it comes to mariachi in Los Angeles, su palabra es la ley. And ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to introduce to all of you the woman that has really made mariachi music in Los Angeles part of the household traditions, Miss Rodri Rodriguez.
Bravo.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon. Well, actually, it's still morning. Buenos dias. It's indeed a privilege to be before council. I was a Cultural Affairs Commissioner during the Bradley administration, and I'm proud to say that many of the fire stations, DWP buildings, the desalinations, and anything that was built on or over city property, we had review and approval over. To the chagrin sometimes of even the mayor and certainly city council at times. And then they took that right away, and then I was no longer a commissioner for a while because I've just been an activist at heart. I've always believed that our community deserves the best architecture, the best design, but we were able to make some great changes at that time. So City Hall is not a stranger to me nor I to it. I'm here in a very different capacity, however, to I don't want to use the word humble because often that gets misconstrued, but I would say proudly accept this on behalf of not just myself. There were a few people that were going to speak. Are they going to get to speak after?
Yes, after.
After me, okay. And so, not briefly, because I can talk for many hours. I was on KFI for 3 hours on a talk radio show, so I can just talk all you down if I need to. And no, I'm not going to run for political office. But I'm not a politician, and I don't make political statements. I make cultural statements. And there is no greater cultural statement than to be 30 years at the Hollywood Bowl. We were told the very first year, it was the naysayers, and I have to take a little side trip and thank the naysayers, because it's the naysayers in our lives that sprinkle fuel on the fire that ignites us, and that fire is what forges us to do the kind of work that we need to do. And those naysayers says, well, you know, maybe you'll have 1,500 people there because mariachi will never work at the Hollywood Bowl. And 2,000 people, 1,500 people they were talking about were the ones that got to stay outside because we were sold out to capacity. And I think that the police were out there and helicopters wondering if there was a riot at the Hollywood Bowl. And it was because 18,000 people showed up. And there were 2,000 people that would not leave. And they wouldn't leave because they were so impassioned about being there. And they were interviewed outside and asked, well, why aren't you leaving? You can't stay here. They said, the majority of them said, no, queremos estar aquí, esto es histórico. This is our culture. Even if we can't see it, we want to hear it. And it is that same impetus of continuing to be at the Hollywood Bowl that has created the success of Mariachi USA. It is our community and communities beyond Los Angeles to Texas, to the East Coast, and to Mexico. We are the largest mariachi festival in the world. We host mariachis from Mexico, and Mariachi USA is just that, USA, because it's about the mariachis living and working here, the ones that show up at your backyard, at your grandfather's funeral, at your child's birth, at your daughter's quinceañera. And it is these gentlemen behind us, and ladies, I dare say. And I say ladies because the very first year at Mariachi USA, being the Latina that I am, I wanted women to be at the forefront of mariachi and change what has been traditionally a male-dominated genre. Male musicians are fabulous. We have learned much from them. There are two women performing this, two female groups performing this year at the Hollywood Bowl. Mujer Nuevo 2000, Mariachi Mujer 2000, and from Guadalajara, Mariachi Nuevo Tecalitlan. That's important because the very first group that I put together were female members from male groups, and they all were wearing different charro suits, but they brought down the house. And therein, the genesis of mariachi female groups all over the United States. I must mention a few people that along the way have created great impact. And it starts with my parents. Who are right beside me in spirit. But we all have an immigrant story. And my story is, I'm not Mexican, I'm Cuban. I came on Operation Pedro Pan. And I was one of the youngest that came out. I had just turned 7. I went to Florida. I was in a refugee camp for 7 years, for several months. And then I was placed in a foster home in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, for 7 years until my parents were able to come to the United States, and they chose to come to Los Angeles. And I've been an LA girl ever since. So from island girl to LA girl, my parents taught me the perseverance that there is no failure in anything that you do in life, that you can only be the best that you can be, that you must be true and honest to yourself and your passions, and you must understand your mission. And so it goes to the core of, I'm not creating a legacy. Some of us are brought to earth to create legacies. Others, like me, become guardians of legacy. And so I have found that I am a guardian of mariachi music, a great legacy that has been handed down to the Mexican community from their ancestors and the richness of what Mexico is, and brought here to what used to be Mexico. Let's not forget that part of it, that mariachi music was once upon a time dominant here, and it is now, and it will continue to be. So I will continue to be a guardian of that legacy, and then I do say that humbly, because the mariachi is born of the people, and the people are growing because of the mariachi. Many of our kids don't speak Spanish. They're learning Spanish phonetically because of the music. And I'd like to thank the president of the Mariachi USA Foundation, Oralia Michelle, who began with me this crazy dream that I had. She's back here somewhere, and she's now president of the foundation. Over 29 years, we've given hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants to have after-school programs. I also want to thank my director, Anthony Medrano. Anthony Medrano is a brilliant example. He was with us in Mariachi Campanas de America from San Antonio, Texas, the very first 1990. And he says it was like going to Normandy, being thrown on that stage and being the first group that ever played at Mariachi USA. I want to challenge California to be what Texas is. Texas has mariachi in the curriculum all the way to master's programs. We have to have mariachi as an after school. Hey, this isn't the Academy Awards, folks. We have to have mariachi as after school programs and in homeroom. So I challenge even the city of Los Angeles to join us and partner with us in being able to get this into the curriculum and make it accessible to more kids. Kids that are taking mariachi are not just Mexican. We have non-Mexican Latinos. We have Filipinos, Koreans, African Americans, non-African American blacks. It is a true plethora of people that represent what Los Angeles is. In fact, I've got some of the San Antonio people here. They're all teachers. Where are you, ladies? Rhonda, Sonia, they're teaching our youth in San Antonio. and also Sandra right over here, all music teachers, and they're part of our Mariachi USA All-Stars. Let me see. My tia Grace is back here. She's known me forever, and she's now my surrogate mother of sorts. Yes. And all of my friends that have supported me, there were some that were upset that I was Cuban and that a Mexican should have done this, but that's gone away. It's gone away because we are now one voice. And there is no greater statement that we can make to anywhere in the world. Washington, yes, Washington looks like this, but Washington is really like this when you look at the impact that we are creating around the world as Latinos. Our statement is, this is a wonderful music. It's a beautiful music. It's a stirring music. And it's a storytelling music that represents the immigrant story, the love story, and the story of all of us as successful human beings. I thank you all. I hope that you will endorse that Mariachi USA will continue in perpetuity. I know LA County owns the bowl, but LA City sure has a lot to do with what goes on.
I thought David Rue, doesn't David Rue own the bowl?
We bought it 4 years ago.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm paying property tax too on there, so. So I invite all of you. It's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Our foundation students will be performing in the plaza. We have a lot of great sponsors with us this year, and I will mention them. Goya, who has been with us for 15 years, big supporter of our community. Delta Airlines, our official airline. Verizon Wireless, our official wireless. Univision, which has been with us for, it seems like, since forever. And
thank you.
Who else have we got? I could mention because they all help make it possible to do the show at the Hollywood Bowl.
Give them a round of applause. Let's
Thank
give
you
them all
very
a round
much.
of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rodri. Thank you for sharing all those wonderful words. And she mentioned her team, and I want to give them afford them the time to say a few words. And I'd like to welcome up Anthony Medrano, the director of Mariachi USA. Anthony.
Thank you very much. 30 years ago, I was part of the very first show at Mariachi USA at the Hollywood Bowl, and it's been an incredible journey. It was pivotal in my life. It defined me as an American, being a mariachi, non-Spanish speaking, to have USA branded as part of this also. My parents didn't speak Spanish because they were punished for it in school and in public. So I never learned Spanish, but the culture was still in me. It was still in my blood. Mariachi was always with me. And Mariachi USA is a way for all of us who have that in us to get recharged again and find ourselves again. So thank you very much for this honor and this proclamation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony. And you heard them this morning, and they will be performing tomorrow, and that is Mariachi Los Reyes. And I'd like to invite up the director of Mariachi Los Reyes, and that's George Alvarez.
Thank you. So, growing up in Mexico, and actually being born in Mexico, growing up in Boyle Heights, getting into a lot of trouble with some of my friends here. Music brought us into, and Roger's always been an inspiration. The Hollywood Bowl was, growing up, we went to Roosevelt High School, and, that's where the music of mariachi started, the program started, and, she used to invite the guys to perform. I wasn't a musician yet, but I used to hang out with these guys, and going to the Hollywood Bowl was truly an inspiration, and you brought something that inspired me very much, being at that stage. And that's where I started, my love for music. So, Roger, you've been, like I said, an inspiration and motivation. You've guided me, and you gave me great advice, and I thank you for now, mariachi music has been respected here in the U.S. at a different level, and you brought it to the top, and I truly respect that. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and we are who we are, thanks to you. La Madrina, Mariachi Los Reyes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. And Mariachi USA is not just about music, it's about giving back. And the Mariachi USA Foundation is a nonprofit that promotes music education throughout Los Angeles. And I'm proud to welcome up from Mariachi USA Foundation our last speaker, Aurelia Michelle.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone, council members, friends, and family. Now, isn't this a truly inspiring story? How many of us can say that we've done something consistently for 30 years and it's been a success? Rodri is my sister. I've known her for over 30 years, and I remember about 31 years ago when she hatched the idea visiting San Diego for another mariachi performance when she said, hey, we don't have something this grand in Los Angeles. We should do one. And as I say, the rest is history. But from the very beginning, we knew that part of what we wanted to do was not only impact culture and the arts by this grand performances at the world stage like it is the Hollywood Bowl. We wanted to do something that would also impact our community, that would impact our families and would give back. So in that spirit, we created the Mariachi USA Foundation. As Rodria said and some of our speakers, we know that music makes kids smart. The learning they have to undergo to learn to play an instrument, read music, and perform gives them life skills like no other and gives them a leg up. So we are very proud of all the school-based youth programs we've supported over the years. And I wouldn't be doing my duty if I didn't say, support us. We want this legacy of school-based programs to continue. Rodri mentioned the model of what's being done in Texas, and we'd love to continue that endeavor here and make it happen. So when you think of something that's both impacting culture, our students' education, and our presence here in the United States, please think of the Mariachi USA Foundation, and we ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Aurelia. And with that said, on behalf of the entire City Council, we'd like to present this resolution to you, Aurelia, and to you, Rodri, to celebrate 30 years of Mariachi USA here in Los Angeles. Thank you so very much.
Congratulations.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Marquis Harris Dawson.
I want to congratulate all the members who brought this beautiful presentation to us today. This is one of those only in LA moments that we have in our city council chambers today. So I wanted to take the opportunity while they are presenting and we're recognizing the Mariachi Festival at Hollywood Bowl this weekend. Next weekend in Hollywood, we'll have Caribbean Heritage Day. And in the back of the room, you see Angelinos from the Caribbean celebrating their culture.
Let's get
and
Channel
beautiful
35 to get a wide
headdress.
shot
So
of that, Mr. Harris
everybody in the media get this. Mariachis and Mardi Gras celebrators, Carnival celebrators from the Caribbean here today in the same room, only in the city of Los Angeles. So a big round of applause for everybody.
Welcome to the John Ferrara Chambers. You all look magnificent, beautiful. And thank you, Mr. Rue, for your presentation.
Today, out in the forecourt, we will have a Caribbean Heritage Festival. There will be food, including Jamaican patties and plantains and all the rest. We have two honorees that we're recognizing today. Patrick Murray, known as Pato Banton. If Pato will stand up, he's an internationally recognized reggae performer. And Franz Cayo, if Franz, you can stand up. He is an Angelino and a leader with the BET networks, who has BET Weekend here in Los Angeles and LA Live this weekend. So we invite you to all of those, but we take this opportunity every year to recognize those of Caribbean heritage in the city of Los Angeles. They near 100,000 people. They have a beautiful celebration, and we have great honorees here today that we're recognizing. And I think we're going to get a little bit of a Mardi Gras parade through the circle here. So
all right,
come on
let's
through.
Do this. All right. We got mariachis now, and we got the Caribbeans with us. This is LA.
Let's do a circle. It's amazing.
Let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. They look beautiful. I'm waiting for Marquis to cue the music here.
I know, right?
Okay.
I was hoping you would give us a beat on the...
I can do a little Bob Marley, but wonderful, just beautiful. All right. And congratulations to the honorees, and we'll all join you, Marquis, later on today. Thank you so much. So with that, Mr. Krikorian, do you have a presentation?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yes, I'd like to just ask if I can have them join me here. The young people of the San Fernando Valley Youth Leadership Academy come and join me. This is a program that I began, Mr. President, 4 years ago. to try to give an opportunity to young people in the San Fernando Valley to learn more about their municipal government, to learn more about leadership, to learn more about how government operates. And this is the fourth class that we've had. It has been terrific to be able to welcome these extraordinary young people into City Hall and into my district office. They've had a chance to learn the basics of how city government works. They've had a chance to tour some of the nonprofits throughout the San Fernando Valley, as well as our city agencies, and really get the nuts and bolts of how we deliver services to the people that we represent. They've engaged in practical exercises to learn some of those skills. The very first day of our program this year, when they were scheduled to learn about public safety, there was a massive fire directly across the street from my office. And they were able to see up close and personal how our first responders react to emergency situations. They've worked with tree people on environmental issues during the time they've been here. They've been out working directly with our homeless population through our Homeless Connect days and through touring Hope of the Valley Rescue Mission and otherwise. So at a time, Mr. President, when even adults are disengaged from government, when we have 10 to 12% of people turning out to vote in some elections, when we have young people who are convinced that the way they can be a part of government is by posting on social media and nothing more, these young people devoted a part of their summer vacation to coming in and doing the work of being engaged in their government and learning more about it. And I couldn't be more proud of them. And I wanted to introduce you to these future leaders of the city of Los Angeles and of the San Fernando Valley. So I want to recognize them and introduce them to you. Part of our Councilmember Cedillo, everyone. So I want to introduce you to Adam Tobeck, a rising junior at Heritage Christian School, Ari Stern, a rising junior at Notre Dame High School, Charlotte Swift, a rising junior at Westridge School, Frank Jang, a rising junior at Harvard Westlake, Irina Hirapetyan, a rising junior at North Hollywood Zoo Magnet School, Mane Davitian, a rising sophomore at Crescenta Valley High School, and Phoebe Perkins, a rising junior at my alma mater, Cleveland High School, and Vera Bogosian, Verdugo Hills senior Verdugo Hills Senior High School. These are young people that you will see here at this presentation, but you will also see them in the future, and hopefully some of them will be sitting around this horseshoe and otherwise helping to lead our city. So I'd like you to join me in recognizing them and welcoming each of them to City Hall.
Thank you so much.
And
thank you so much.
And we're going to have certs and photos in the back, Mr. President. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your leadership, and welcome. Okay, members, we're going to now switch to multiple cards that have been filled out. Let's do Arnold Sachs first. Come forward. You pulled item number 14, so we're going to give you 1 minute on item 14 and 1 minute general public comment. He'll be followed by Eric Previn. Start his clock, please. Are you forfeiting your time, Arnold?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Ross Sachs for the record, and thank you for upholding Herbie's House rules. I really appreciate that. So item 14 refers to the Tavern on Rancho Park, LLC. Very important term, LLC. If you're buying a house, buy it through an LLC, because that way you can avoid the Prop 13 tax on your property. LLCs don't pay property tax, or they pay an old property tax. It mentions redevelopment. So is this project associated with CRA LA's redevelopment? And then it said something about $1 million during the first 10-year term of the agreement.
Okay, give him 1 minute.
Wow.
General public comment?
General public comment.
Thank you.
So, a 10-year term of an agreement means there's more than one 10-year term. And were these instructions per the controller? And the other part of this is another new account. We need to have a meeting where the controller and the people who do the budgets get together and decide about what funding is available in these other accounts that isn't being used by the city. It's important. There's a lot of money sitting in the city accounts that stays because nobody has a way to get it used for public projects. That being said, maybe somebody could introduce a motion and have it read into the minutes. Very important item right there. Read them into the minutes. And by the way, this should be for, what did I say? My brain cramp.
Thank you, Eric Previn. Same thing, 1 minute on item 14 and 1 minute of general public comment. Welcome.
Yes, sir, you robbed him of 25 seconds, which is totally inappropriate on his items. I'll just simply say that item 11-0081-S5 smells to high heaven. This is Wesson amending.
Mr. President, that item is not related to item 14.
No.
Okay, hold his time, please. Hold his time.
Hold on.
So, Eric, you're speaking on item 14. That's your final warning.
Okay.
Go ahead, proceed on item 14.
So,
Stick to the
fair
item.
enough, but I just want to emphasize that related to item 14, where Koretz is sitting on a concessionaire who wants to bring $4 million, Mr. Buscaino. That's a lot of dollars to a golf outfit. That's a lot of money. Now, he's not going to the panel with ACOM and Borough Happold all over it, especially in the outreach department, which is surprising because they are also the ones who sponsored the mayor's bar mitzvah or whatever, his big inauguration. And I have to tell you, Council File 19-0607, again, why is Office of Finance spending $500,000 over at the LA Times building getting swanky new offices for which Tony Royster's paying $400,000 to move him in? That's a ripoff.
1 minute general public comment.
Fair enough, sir.
Go ahead.
I appreciate it. It's Eric Previn from Studio City, and on June 12th, we did one of the greatest gags I've ever seen. AVOC decided, hey, let's start all the committee meetings at 1 p.m., except for one late. And by doing that, you create a possibility for a guy like, for example, me, to be able to speak on, for example, the fact that the Korean American Museum is getting new negotiated terms, which is completely creepy because we expected that affordable housing. Now they're getting rid of it. And the LA Times building being occupied by our Office of Finance refund specialist, those kinds of things weren't hittable because Greg Smith, where is he? He's over with Chris Connolly celebrating the great career of that author. But I got to tell you something. That is a big red flag. And Buscaino, who packs a couple of tasers and one on his ankle in case he gets lost, needs to know that we're not doing that. We're not denying members of the public to speak on items that come before this council. You play that committee exception game, and I'm going to challenge it because you play it, and you play it in such a way that the public can't win. And we don't want to win. We just want to participate. So thank you.
Thank you. Patricia McAllister, followed by Wayne. Same thing, Patricia. Patricia, 1 minute on 14 and 1 minute on general public comment. You follow me?
Wait, I picked 3, 4, 14 also, all those. Why can't I get my time? I picked 3, 4, I picked everything. Why are you just giving me 1 minute? I'm
Ms.
multi.
McAllister, those items were already voted on.
Excuse me?
And item 3, public comment has been fulfilled. So speak on 14. Start a clock all over, please.
Okay, 14, you want a kickback of 1.1 million from the Recreation and Parks for the Rancho Park LLC. I don't understand why they have to kick back money to the city. Once they sell food, beverages, and it's a golf course at 10460 West Pico Boulevard. So I don't know why every time I look up, businesses have to kick back money to the city. I don't know why they should have to kick it back, and then you said you're going to put the money somewhere in some private account, and we know what that means. That means that it could go in anybody's pocket. I don't like all of these general funds. You're going to put in a general fund. I don't like all these general funds being built because that's how you embezzle funds. You guys have, last couple of years, you started this, you've created about, I don't know, 100 or so different funds, and you're moving money I can keep track of it, and the FBI will be able to keep track of it, but it'll be difficult for the people. Keep track of that.
Thank you. 1 minute, general public comment.
Okay, there was a meeting out in front of City Hall this past Wednesday, and the citizens of Los Angeles, they've launched a petition to recall the mayor, Eric Garcetti, because of over 100,000 homeless Americans living on the street in Los Angeles. Her name is Andrea, D-A-T-I-G, Tig. She's leading this recall, and they're going to set up some committees. Now, we need you guys to sign the petitions, tell your friends and family. If they can sign that petition, we would appreciate it. Now, based on my research, in 2017, only 2 or 3 housing developments are being developed. So now what they've done is I was able to go on the web and get the addresses and go and drive by there. Now they've locked that website where I can't get in. You can only get a password to get in. And so we don't know where you're building because you're not building. See, the reason you don't want to give the address is because you know we'll drive by and know you're doing nothing but lying and embezzling money. Call the FBI at 202-324-3000. 202-324-3000. Let's report this. That's the FBI.
Thank you. Ryan Farsai. Wayne, start making your way up. 1 minute on 14 and 1 minute of general public comment.
Thank you, council members. Thank you, Los Angeles, for the opportunity to speak this morning. My name is Ryan Reza Farsai. I'm a Los Angelian. I am a father, and I'm here to talk on number 14. Number 14 is the same thing that's been going on in all the cities and all the counties in the United States of America. What it is the city basically authorizes certain revenues and certain employees that are formerly city employees, and they delegate it to other people. So number 14, they're authorizing the President and Secretary of Board of Recreation and Park Commissioners to execute a proposed agreement with the Tavern at Rancho Park LLC for the redevelopment, operation, and maintenance of the food beverage for 10 years and a 5-year contract. They don't tell you how much of that money they can actually spend on the building to improve their operations. They don't tell you how much is the lease. They just tell you how much they're supposed to pay in 10 years. Now I'm going to talk to you about my 1 minute.
Thank you.
I am a Prince of Los Angeles, an Iberian lineage, Italian, Russian, Hungarian, German, English, which makes me British. But I am a Los Angelian and American. America is a corporation, so I'm here to give you enlightenment. It is set up initially as a democracy. Today is more like a kingdom. Kingdom run by lawyers and billionaires. Take a look at your last 2 presidents. We have 50 governors, 1 president, and 9 chief justices. Essentially, our corporation has 60 kings. I'm a student of the golden rule, and the highest golden rule is forgiveness. I am a father. I'm here to pardon the groups that helped the colonization of America by the European kings in the early 1900s with the electricity and water rights. Those are the bankers, the lawyers, the title companies, the government, all you Rotarians, all you plumbers, law enforcement, through the flow of water. United States government, I pardon you for all those POW members that went missing and all our lost fallen heroes. Thank you very much. God bless America.
Thank you. Wayne, come on up. Same thing, 1 minute on 14 and 1 minute on general public comment, followed by Sean Murphy.
We stopped this 245 motion, dumb asshole cop. Okay, go ahead. So again, the goat has returned. So now we get item number 14. 14 is about a golf course concession. Yeah. Now, the Tavern at Rancho Park. Yes. Now, how much does it cost in the tavern to have a little breakfast? Gil Cedillo went there last week. It was so much money, he refused to stay there. That's how much it costs. You rip off the golfers, you rip off the juniors. And what you do at Rancho Park is you don't give seniors and you don't give kids affordable ways to learn how to play golf. You fucking assholes. So that's why we want a friendly amendment, and thank you to Mr. Harris Dawson. We want it down to $500,000 so that kids can get discounts on food. Yes. So now, I'll take it. Thank you, asshole. Fuck you too. All right. Okay, so now, getting back to this, next week, I got a surprise for all of you. You know, and again, you're going to learn the art of subtlety. You should have settled my civil rights case. You shouldn't have filed that phony strep and fobble bullshit TRO against me. You're going to learn why. You're going to learn who I really am. I'm not a man. I'm a fucking cock with 2 fucking arms and 2 legs. That's what you're going to learn. I'm a prick. You're looking at the biggest prick you've ever seen in your life, and you'll find out next week what happens when you play with pricks. What happens when you play with pricks? They piss all over your head. And as far as Mr. Fauble's emergency, he's got an emergency. He's got a date with the FBI.
Thank you. Sean Murphy, you're up. Your time's up. Now, Sean, remember, you pulled a card on 14, so speak 1 minute on 14, then 1 minute of general public comment. It's good to see you, Sean.
Yeah. F14. I don't want to speak on that.
All right, give him his 1 minute of general public comment.
2 of the train stations are closing down tomorrow due to the construction. That's not right. You should have done it back 6 months ago. People come to L.A. What do they have to do? Take a shuttle bus? It's ridiculous. You see homeless everywhere. Remember Eric Garcetti? I'm going to fix the homeless problem. You see homeless people everywhere. You see them everywhere. So Eric Garcetti should be recalled.
Okay, we have a Jack, last name N, Jack N. Nicklaus? No? Last call? Okay, so what's before us, members? Item number 14. Mr. Rue, do you have a verbal amendment on 14?
Thank you, Mr. President. For item number 14, I'd like to move to receive and file this matter as the Board of Recreation and Parks Commissioners rescinded its approval of the negotiated agreement between the City of Los Angeles and Tavern at Rancho Park LCC.
Very good. So let's now open the roll on 14, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
It's approved as amended. Thank you. So now, members, let's take item number 3. Item 3 is now before us. Ms. Rodriguez to speak on item number 3.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, on May 15th, I introduced a motion in response to the water quality concerns that we were experiencing at Hansen Dam Recreation Lake that were brought to my attention by some of our open water lifeguards that were testing at that facility. Our city takes all of these cases very seriously, and as a result of their bringing that concern to light, my office, I was working very closely with the Department of Recreation and Parks, SEIU, Local 721, the lifeguard staff, and the Bureau of Sanitation to make sure that we began implementing new testing protocols to make sure that that water quality was up to standard and addressing the safety concerns that were raised by the lifeguards, but also to assure the public safety as well. And I want to be clear that there's a very clear distinction between the natural water lake that exists at that facility at the Hansen Dam Aquatic Center and our municipal pool. There are 2 different bodies of water. And the conversation that ensued regarding the water quality concerns was related to the recreation lake. So that lake is now undergoing new standardized protocols when it comes to testing, and we have addressed all of these concerns, and I'm really grateful to the collaborative efforts that we have to address these issues with, again, the Department of Recreation and Parks. I want to thank them for their responsiveness to these concerns and the collaborative work of SEIU 721 and our lifeguards to assure that we have the best quality public safety at this facility and making sure that our residents can still participate in active recreation at that facility as a result of these new protocols. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. No other members on the queue. So with that, let's take item number 3. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Item 3 is approved. Thank you. With that, let's now turn to general public comment. Please come forward when I call your name. There's Teresa Flanagan.
What?
Good morning and welcome. She'll be followed by a Joanna Aguilera and an April Papili. Ms. Flanagan, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Teresa Flanagan. We are in the midst of a housing affordable crisis. At this time, we cannot afford to lose good paying jobs and out more families in the pipeline of desperate needed affordable housing. Protect the community, keep the jobs here. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Aguilera, sorry, your name?
Hello, good morning, City Council. I'm Joanna Aguilera with ARMS. It is important that we keep our communities safe and keep our oil industry and employment opportunities strong. We believe that we can meet both goals without sacrificing one or another. We can drill safely and ensure all regulations and implement it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is April Papili, and I'm with the ARMS organization. And I come here today to support the transition to renewable energy, as well as in defense of over 300,000 jobs dependent on the traditional energy infrastructure. A 2,500-foot setback in oil and gas production ties the hands of the industry that needs to be treated with its due respect. Many hundreds of thousands of people are depending on a smooth transition from the existing production framework to that of the future. Please, please help trust that future. Please help us make that next step in a considerable fashion. Please remember the very real people impacted by this vote. Vote no on the 2,500 oil and gas production setback. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there Odile Davies? Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, American.
If you can just speak a little bit louder and clearer in the microphone.
I'm a very soft speaking. I say good morning, American. I come here to speak to you. I prefer myself as an immigrant American. I am an American because I married an American. I am a mother of American. But what I see, a woman is not to be abused in the house of his children. I am a mother, I was a wife, but I did not marry the city hall. He worked for the city hall. I did not marry the district attorney. Whatever, I want to know if Lisa is in this house. My husband and I, as a Catholic, he's still my husband, and I'm still the mother of his children. And I am in America legally, but discrimination because you have an accent.
Thank you.
What you have forgotten is all of you had someone who came here
Thank you.
and
Your time's
suffer.
up. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Your time's up, ma'am. So with that, that's our final speaker. What's before us, Madam Clerk?
Sir,
Council has motions for posted and referral.
They're posted and referred.
That clears the desk, sir.
Thank you. Any announcements, members? Mr. Marquise Harris Dawson.
Zydeco band, reggaeton, Jamaican patties out on the forecourt right now.
Sounds really good. We'll see you there. Any others? Miss Martinez for an announcement.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to remind everyone that tomorrow we'll be celebrating Valley Pride. I know last weekend was our Pride South LA. Congratulations. I heard you had a wonderful event. I want to invite all my colleagues to come tomorrow to our 5th annual Valley Pride. We'll be celebrating it tomorrow from 6 to 10 at the Van Nuys Civic Center. You all are welcome. We're going to have music, performances. I want to make sure that the Valley is represented during Pride Month. That's the whole purpose of this. Make sure that our families recognize our LGBTQ brothers and sisters, and we welcome everyone to come out. We're going to have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mitch, you good? Okay. Ms. Rodriguez for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Colleagues, so, summertime is typically the kickoff, and while we are still experiencing a little bit of June gloom, I want to invite everybody to come out to the Hanson Dam Aquatic Center tonight, where we are kicking off this newfound way of watching movies, and that is on the sandy beach at the largest municipal pool in the country in my district in Lakeview Terrace. We're going to be screening Shark Tale, and because it has an outstanding soundtrack, we've got a DJ to spin some tunes right before the movie begins. But families have the opportunity of watching the movie from the swimming pool as well. So they can hang out on their floaties and watch their movie and You know, last year we kicked it off with Jaws. We recreated the beach from Amity Island, and it was an incredibly successful movie night where we had over 850 people coming out to join us. So we invite all of you to come check out the movie nights. They start tonight and will continue every Friday for the rest of the summer. So come on out to CD7.
We'll see you there. Any other announcements, members? Okay, hearing none, please rise for adjourning motions. Looking to my left. See none to my right. Members, I have Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'd ask that the City Council adjourn this meeting in memory of Ron Nichols, a great leader in the energy industry throughout his career, and someone who served the city very capably as General Manager of the Department of Water and Power. Ron Nichols passed away on June 6th after a courageous battle with gastric cancer at the much too young age of 65. He was the president of Southern California Edison and the former general manager, as I mentioned, of DWP. He had more than 35 years of experience in the electric and water utility industry. Throughout his career, he was a strategic and operational advisor to utilities, state and local government, power suppliers, and the financial community on complex energy and utility matters throughout the United States, and particularly the western United States. After graduating from UC Davis, Ron started an energy and water utility consulting career and held positions with the California Department of Water Resources and California Energy Commission. He was co-founder and senior vice president of the energy and water utility consulting firm Resource Management International, which was headquartered in Sacramento and had offices throughout North America and in Europe and Asia. Ron came in, as some of you will remember, to take over the Department of Water and Power at an incredibly tumultuous time. The department had gone through, I think, 6 general managers in 5 years. And Ron Nichols brought this department a degree of stability, which it had not had, a degree of transparency, which it had not had, at a time when we were struggling with rate increases. At the Department of Water and Power, Ron was able to reach out to the community with a level of openness to stakeholders that we had not seen in the Department of Water and Power. In addition to bringing stability and transparency, he helped to initiate the Office of the Ratepayer Advocate. And after we struggled to find a way to ensure that we had independent review of rates, instead of resisting it, Ron, as general manager, embraced it and really brought the Ratepayer Advocate to a level of trust and reliability for the members of the public who could now count on that office. After departing from DWP, Ron served as Senior Vice President of Regulatory Affairs for Southern California Edison, overseeing regulatory policy and regulatory operations and environmental affairs. And in 2016, Ron was elected President of Southern California Edison, where he was responsible for external affairs, compliance, power production, procurement, and other operations. He really was a giant in this industry. We still owe him a debt of gratitude for what he brought to the DWP and still has a continuing legacy there. Ron is survived by his wife Cheryl and their family, but he really will leave a great legacy for this city with the renewed DWP that we enjoy now, which is fundamentally transformed from what we struggled with before Ron's arrival and his leadership. So Ron will be very much missed by people throughout the city and throughout the energy industry. Edison will be hosting a celebration of Ron's life on Saturday, June 29th from 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Edison International in Rosemead. And anyone interested in making a donation in Ron's memory may make it to Cedars-Sinai, to the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, or to Velos, an organization devoted to encouraging more electric car production throughout the world.
Thank you, Mr. Krikorian. Shocking. Ms. Martinez?
I just want to add, thank you, Mr. Krikorian, for adjourning in Ron Nichols' memory, but I also want to add, I didn't have an opportunity to work with Ron after I got elected to the city council, but I do want to speak on behalf of the community. When I was the executive director of Pacoima Beautiful, we were trying to initiate a better relationship with DWP. And one of the first phone calls that we made was to the general manager. And I remember him and I got on the phone, and he was so interested in getting out to the community. And one of the things I will always remember about Ron is we assembled a community meeting in Pacoima on a Saturday morning, and he showed up. And he stayed for the entire meeting, listening to the ratepayers of the Northeast San Fernando Valley. He really took the time to try to understand the financial impact it would have on people from the Northeast San Fernando Valley. So it's sad news. I learned about his passing a couple of weeks ago. As far as I remember him, he was accessible to community and really was interested in learning how any rate increase would impact working families. So I always appreciated that from Ron. So may he rest in peace. Thank you very much for adjourning his memory.
Thank you. I have two adjourning motions, colleagues, and one for the mother of National League of Cities, leading policy director, Irma Esparza. Her mother, Stella Juanita Esparza, passed away June 6th, peacefully in her home, surrounded by her family by her side. She was born in Lubbock, Texas, to parents Carlos and Paola Gonzalez Trejo, where she graduated at Lubbock High School. She went on to receive her Bachelor of General Studies from the University of Texas at Dallas. She was the owner and founder of Bilingual Workshop and Ideas and retired from the Dallas Independent School District as a community liaison. Stella was a strong community advocate who made her career public service. She served in numerous volunteer and board capacities, including the City of Dallas Arts and Cultural Advisory Commission. She would say her greatest gifts are her children and grandchildren. Stella is the loving mother to Irma Esparza Diggs, her husband Kenneth, and their daughter Kennedy, and to Leandra Grace Palamo, her husband Rudy, and their children Rudy III, Sophia, and Noah. And for over 20 years, Stella had a loving partner, Andrew Reyes. She is survived by her siblings Olivia, Mauricio, Ida, and by the father of her children and former spouse Luis Esparza. She's preceded in death by her parents and siblings Manuel, Olga, and Marta. And on the day of her passing, a double rainbow appeared to her loved ones, reminding them of her forever love and presence. Stella Juanita Esparza, may she rest in peace. And my Deputy Chief of Staff, Jacob Hake, lost both aunt and uncle, Joanne Hake Padden and Alvin Padden. Joanne Hake Padden passed away Wednesday, May 29th, surrounded by her husband of 65 years, Alvin, and their 4 children. Alvin Padden passed away on June 12th, exactly 2 weeks to the day after the death of his beloved wife. Joanne was born in Palmer, Alaska on August 10th, 1936, after her parents came to Alaska in search of work during the Depression years. The family ultimately homesteaded to Alaska in 1947, where Joanne's father, Vernon Hake, which ultimately is the first mayor of Chequac, and mother, Alma Hake, built and operated the log cabin restaurant Spring Creek Lodge. Alvin was born on July 12, 1930, in Leedy, Oklahoma. He grew up in Newport, Oregon, and attended Newport High School, where he was a quarterback on the football team, senior class president, and participated in the local chapter of Demolay International. Joanne and Alvin married on August 13, 1953, and ultimately settled in Goleta, California, where they lived for 60 years. So to Jacob, Nancy, the entire Hake family, we love you, praying for you. May your aunt and uncle rest in peace. Thank you, colleagues. We are now adjourned. Let us go forth and serve the great people of the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
interesting question because there actually are some plants here that will make the leap between one zone and the other. The California fuchsia that we saw in both places with the red flower, it's in bloom right now, can take sun or shade. There aren't too many plants that do that, especially blooming ones.
Those to me are really precious plants because from a design point of view, when you're trying to create some harmony where there's a repetition of an element from one place to another, if you have a plant that can be in a few different places, then that sort of becomes your repeating theme that can move around.
It's a bridging plant that carries you from one area to the other. Well, this is a pretty shady area here. It doesn't get a lot of sun. There's a little bit in the afternoons. And so we had to pick plants that were adapted to the light conditions. We wanted to do a pretty much all native planting here and keep it in harmony with the oak trees that are above us, creating the shade. So we used a native sunflower called Venegasia that is native just to Santa Barbara County.
When we start the planning process and before we really make any decisions about what plants to put where, it's important to understand how to use the entire site and how to get the most of it. In an area like this where you just want to relax, it's nice to have the sense of openness, a lot of low-growing plants, cheery colors, a lot of textural interest and that sort of thing.